What do you mean that's not included in my website project? Have you found yourself asking this when web designers say, hey, that's not included and it's going to cost extra? We're going to discuss today the most important things you have to ask and get defined with any website project. Hi, I'm Jonathan Sellers, CEO of Solucru. Today I'm joined again with our Director of Digital Marketing, Seaton Tehart, and we're discussing essential questions you must ask when evaluating web design companies. Website design projects are very complicated. They can be very complicated. So we thought we would define for you, if you're considering going into a new website project anytime soon, the top 5 questions that you absolutely have to define. You need to get these in writing. These should be in your agreement. The first question is something we've seen. We've seen this for years, and there are agencies whose entire business model revolves around the fact that you do not own your website, nor will you ever own your website, because you're actually only renting it from the company who's building it. So Seaton, what are your thoughts on this? Like, what have you seen, and why is this such an important thing to understand in any website project?
Oh, absolutely. You ultimately, you are paying for the website. So most business owners would assume I'm paying for the website, I own it. But you are correct. It's a very common model where you are essentially leasing the website, but the website, it remains the property of that particular agency. So it's the most important thing you need to confirm is, yes, when I make this payment, do I own the website? Now, what I don't want to get into, I'm not going to disparage companies that do this. There are certain reasons why you may or may not do this. However, we do advocate that when it comes to a website, you should retain ownership. Now, even at Solucru, we've got different packages. We have one and done websites that are very bespoke projects, normally very big projects. These are typically for our bigger business clients that really want a very, very robust website and want a lot of custom solutions, and those are one and done. They normally pay us, they contract us for a period, they pay us a fixed fee, and at the end of that, they own their website, it's theirs. We obviously do have a subscription model that is tailored more to small business owners, and this is, you get the website, you do have ownership of it, you get all our technology stack, and that is typically for a nominal monthly fee. Now, there's a caveat there, and that's why I say there are reasons for these things. With our subscription model, obviously there's a cost to building the website. So, for example, if ever you wanted to cancel our subscription model, we don't hold your website hostage, but we do make it very clear in our T's and C's that there may be a fee payable depending on the duration of your subscription. That's the only caveat with us, but you still retain ownership after you pay that fee, and you are free to, at any stage, if you don't want to be on the subscription plan, you are free to cancel that package with us.
Yeah, and then they could just transfer the site over to another hosting provider.
Absolutely. So that's the thing. It's all about transparency. I think that's the most important thing. And that's where we reference a lot of freelancers, a lot of other agencies aren't transparent on that. It's kind of this gray area that nobody actually mentions. And then often, you discover at the end of term that, hey, I don't own my website. For us, we advocate for you owning your website. So again, the only reason we have a little bit of a clause in relation to that with our subscription model is, as you've referenced, it's just to curb, there is obviously a substantial cost for us when we launch a website. So we do want to make sure we curb people that try and cheat the system. They're just trying to get a free website, because that's not what we do. We advocate best practice. We advocate scaling your small business and growing your small business, and that's why we have that subscription model. It's really to help small business, and that's why we have that little bit of a clause in there.
Yeah, of course. And I think that question, that's we're leading with, will you own the site? Because not knowing the answer to that question can be the most devastating component of, a website, the website project or the life of your website. And so the next number 2 question you must ask, and I would say for sure this question is the one that stalls the most website projects. And that is, who is creating or providing the content? We see this over and over again. The client assumes, the company assumes they're getting a website. It includes content, it includes graphic design, it includes all the copy. And so there's this mismatch, and then the site framework gets built, and it's like, okay, hey, business owner, we need you to provide copy for these 12 pages. And we need you to provide these images, these pictures. And then everything grinds to a halt, because now the owner's like, how will I create this copy? Like, I'm not a copywriter. I thought that's what you're doing. That's what I'm paying you for, right? So this is something, I think, this is, in my opinion, like I said, this is when the site never gets finished, unfortunately, for some people, because they didn't define that they needed to provide the content, or they didn't understand what that meant explicitly, like how much content do I need to provide, or they didn't tell the agency, I need you to do it, and then therefore the agency priced the project appropriately to include copywriting and graphic design and things like that.
Oh, I mean, it's normally the biggest hurdle, especially for small business. I would say this is normally the challenge. Most small business don't have all this historic information of what they've done, who they are. Quite often, small businesses are still trying to establish their brand. They're trying to find that brand voice. So they don't necessarily have the means of having all this content on hand and having all this, all this imagery or things like that. But it's definitely, we've seen it again from projects we've taken over where website owners were left frustrated because they were working with a freelancer, for example, and the project came to a grinding halt when it came to, you need copy and you need imagery, and now it's just taking months and months and months. Writing good quality content takes time, it takes experience, and it's the same with imagery. Even if you are not using bespoke imagery, now when I say bespoke, I mean graphics that you've had custom designed, or you've had a photographer in office and they've come to take amazing pictures of your office or your staff. Even if you don't have bespoke imagery, even if you are using a stock library, and even that takes time. It's a resource. Now you've got to have somebody that's spending hours searching the stock libraries, especially if you are looking at free stock. Free stock limits you greatly. So you need to have somebody invested in spending that time to source the stock imagery, get it onto the website, and then also sometimes a stock image you may think it works, and then you see it on the page and it's like, actually this doesn't work. So we know it's a time investment. There's a cost there. There's a definite cost there. So if you are a freelancer doing websites on the cheap and you are only expecting to do the foundation, when you discover a client wants copy and they want imagery, that's where you may have underpriced your services. And that's why for both parties, that's a gray area you don't want. You want to be very clear. Do you write copy, and do you provide imagery, or do we need to provide it?
Yeah, and I think with kind of that, what you were digging into there about the writing and the need for quality writing, I think there's another piece of this that would be the number 3 question you need to ask in any website project, is what are you doing, or are you doing anything for SEO on the site, for search engine optimization? Is that included? What is included? That could mean so many things. Understand that. People have very different philosophies on what SEO is and what it means. What's the most important thing? So it's just important to make sure you understand, is the agency or the person who's building the site, are they doing it? And if so, what are they doing? And just make sure that you understand it and you think that path is worthwhile.
I think you've unpacked that quite a bit. But what I would add to that is, so yes, you do have to define what it is. Now, again, I don't want to disparage any agency or freelancer that doesn't include SEO in the website bold. We have to remember, the one thing I would question is if they're not doing basic fundamental SEO. So that's just, again, just the things you would expect, like the title tags, the meta tags. I think most serious web developers will ensure at least that those things are in place. But the bigger piece of SEO, realistically, we have to remember is it's typically an ongoing endeavor. It's not a you set it and forget it. It's something that monthly you are improving, you're adding keywords, you're adding content. So realistically, we know that's an endeavor that normally won't require a monthly payment, a monthly investment into SEO. And then the other thing that we've seen quite often in that space is clients, they get their new website and they're like, but I'm not ranking. I'm not on page one. And the reality is that's another thing. It's not as simple as you build the website and immediately you rank. You have to, that SEO piece becomes a very important component. Again, the website is the foundation, it's the platform, but you do inevitably, if you want to really, really rank and you want to, especially organic, that's the whole purpose, organic rankings. I would say that is where you've got to look at how much am I willing to invest in that SEO endeavor to ensure I get to a point where I am dominating on the organic rankings.
It does lead me to the number 4 question you must ask with any website project, though, and that is, what happens after the site is launched? What happens after the primary website build project is done? Does that agency or freelancer or person who's building the site, are they managing it, right? Are they managing just plugin updates? Are they, managing the server for you? Are they actually providing, the hosting and the server for you? In addition to that, what if you need another page? What if you need an image? So what if originally you're using stock photos, but you get your friend to come and shoot some photography, and you're like, hey, I want to switch these photos out for some of those stock images? What happens then? Do you have to pay for everything? Are there things that are included? Are you on your own?
Yeah, and I would say many, many years ago when I first started in the web dev industry or the web dev environment, that was a common mistake I made as a freelancer, is not communicating what maintenance would look like. So back then I bought mostly one and done websites. You paid me a fixed fee. We came to an agreement of how many pages, what you needed. You paid me, I built the website, I handed it over to you. But what I immediately noticed was a lot of those website owners would assume that because I built the website, in future, if they needed something, they could just call me. And it wasn't a question of they could call me and, okay, I would quote them and it's a new project. They would just assume it's an ongoing project. So I built the website, but now I need a page added. So I contact Seaton and then they assume, hey, he's just going to add a page. Where typically that's not how it works. If you pay for a website and it's a one and done and they hand it over to you, typically that's where it ends. If it doesn't mean you can't reach out to that developer again, but typically at that point it would be a whole new project. So you want a new page, okay, we're going to quote you and this is how much it will cost if we build you a new page. Because it's like any other service that you get, you pay for the service unless you're subscribing to a maintenance plan. That's a different story. It's also important to define what that maintenance is, because there's the server-side maintenance of just keeping everything functional, keeping everything up to date for performance, security, all those good things. And then there's actual maintenance more on the front end, as in now I need to add content, I need to add pages, and it's very important you get clarity from someone that's building your website.
Exactly. And I think that leads into the fifth question that you need to ask for any web design project. What are you doing to ensure my site has good performance? It could be philosophically, or it could also be specifically like the technology you're going to use, or the tools you're going to use to make sure that this site does what I need, which is helps me get more business. We talk about that in the tech stack we use. We've recently did a whole video, a whole Solucru Talks about that, our tech stack, and so we'll link that here as well. And so you can check that out and see why we make the choices we make. And then on the other side of performance, maybe the business side of performance, it's what are you doing to make sure that that the information is presented in a way that my clients and potential clients can get what they need and can contact me or make a purchase or whatever it is that we need to do as a business.
So the other thing about the performance piece, and this is often overlooked, especially in one and done websites, if your developer is using different technologies, quite often those technologies have a recurring cost. It may be monthly, it may be annual. And an important discussion to have there, besides finding out why are you using these technologies, why are you using these platforms, is if it's a one and done website, quite often those costs become for your account. So they might create an account on these different platforms, but the intention is once they hand over, the cost of those technologies, it becomes for your account. And that's often overlooked. That's a very big benefit to subscription models. And again, that's why for small business, we have a subscription model plan that includes all these premium technologies. And essentially, you are getting it at a massive cost savings, because if you had to buy these different technologies yourself and subscribe to them, it would essentially cost more than what the subscription costs for a website with all these technologies and the priority support, etc. So there is a benefit in a subscription model website for that, but then in one and done websites, that's where you have to confirm, okay, if you are using these particular technologies, do I own them, or are they subscription based? And if they're subscription based, am I paying for it, or is it just covered in the fee, whatever the fee was?
Exactly. So that's a bonus question. That's a bonus question, guys. So if you've stuck with us this long, you're probably considering a website project. Talk to our team at Solucru. Let us help you make sure you're on the right track. If nothing else, we can walk you through these questions. Make sure you understand why they're important, even for your specific situation. If you like this type of content, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. You'll get notified whenever we do our next Solucru Talks or any of our other videos, and we will see you then.